All right, hello everyone, and welcome into a special WCBN sports interview with Isaiah Paige, who is on the baseball team. You want to go ahead and introduce yourself?
All right, yeah, thank you for having me. My name is Isaiah Paige. I'm a right-handed pitcher. I'm a redshirt freshman on the baseball team this year, number 25. I have no experience yet. As I told you guys, I'm a redshirt, but I'm super pumped for this year and to get going. So thank you again for having me.
Oh, absolutely, man. And, how about you just start by talking about your baseball career kind of growing up and how you kind of got into the game and how you kind of got going and knowing that you were going to be a college player and how even you got recruited to the University of Michigan.
Yeah, definitely. So as long as I can remember, I've played baseball. I seriously can't even think of a time where I didn't. So I'll just lead into high school. I wasn't really like a highly touted recruit out of my freshman and sophomore year. I just didn't really develop as fast as some other guys did that I played with. But so my sophomore summer going into my junior year hit, and that's kind of when I hit that growth spurt, my growth spurt with velocity, with my speed, all that different kind of stuff. And that's when schools kind of started to get on my radar a lot more. Michigan reached out to me, which has always been a dream school of mine for as long as I can remember. Also, I've been a fan of the Maize and Blue. And so it finally kind of became real for me, and I was like, all right, like I can work hard enough and I can do this. So then my junior season hit, and that's when Coach Backer sent me on a recruiting visit here. I came out here for UNLV. It was everything I wanted it to be. I fell in love again. And so a week later, I committed to Michigan, and it's been a fairy tale ever since. I have no regrets. Baseball's done a lot for me. Met some great people like you, and I'm really happy to be here.
And, what was kind of going through the whole process? What was it like balancing high school and then travel baseball growing up?
It's tough. It's you kind of have to sacrifice some things. There'll be weekends where, maybe your friends want to go to the beach, me being from California, but you have a tournament out in Arizona, so you kind of have to decipher, and you have to build relationships as much as you can, all the while having like a parallel balance of your sport, because that's just as important. So I wouldn't say that necessarily I put all my effort into baseball and just went all in and said, I'm going to grind, that's it, I'm not going to invest in anything else. I definitely did my part and kept friendships. I built friendships, but I also advanced my baseball career as much as I could because, when baseball is gone, it's all about the people you know. So I definitely would say I did a pretty good balance, and that's why I'm here.
What were some of the coolest places you got to travel growing up in like high school and travel baseball?
Yeah, well, the coolest one that I went to that I didn't really appreciate when I was younger was I went to Omaha, actually. There was a tournament that I played in Omaha, Nebraska, and I really, really did not appreciate it because I was too young to understand how important the College World Series actually is to me now. And so when I was there, I know for a fact I didn't like it. The bugs are big, and it's hot, and I didn't like it. But now, like, it's the one place I dream of going, seriously. And I really loved Omaha. I've been to Georgia, Vegas, Florida, so many cool places baseball's taken me. And I went with my dad everywhere, so it was even cooler. Him and I have some really good memories in different places. So, yeah, baseball's done a lot.
And, some of the teammates you played with growing up, where are they at now?
Yeah, I've played with some good ball players. I'm really proud to actually have had the career that I have with some of the players I played with. Obviously, Hunter Green and Royce Lewis. Those two were the 1 and 2 picks in the draft in 2017. Nick Prado, he was a pick in the Royals in the first round. Hagan. Kevin Abel, I played with. He was the stud from Oregon State who really pitched well in the College World Series. I think almost everybody from my CBA travel ball team is all at a Division I school or Division II school now, and I keep in touch with them as most as I can. I remember when I was in California last year, all the guys on the team would kind of make fun of me because like we'd play a team and I'd be dapping up with somebody on the team because somewhere along my journey I've met them and I've kind of stayed close with them. So it's really cool because I've seen so many guys go to so many different places, and I see guys who have their like big league estimate coming up soon, and knowing that they're going to be putting like a big league jersey soon is seriously insane. And I'm blessed to have played with them because those guys are true talents, and I'm rooting for them every step of the way. There's like no animosity.
That's the cool part about sports, and especially at the level that you get to play at, for sure. So you go from California, nice and sunny out there. We have Adam engineering across the glass. He also is an LA kid, but how do you transition from California to now the snowy and often dark winters up here?
I get this question so much, actually.
I do too. I mean, I'm a Texan, so
seriously,
we get it all the time.
It happens so much.
What's your answer?
I always tell them that it's not as hard as you think living in it. Because when you can prepare for the cold, I think you can definitely brace yourself when you walk outside and not be freezing. But playing in it definitely took some getting used to. You have to time when you're going to warm up outside, like in the bullpen, as to where you're actually going to come into the game. So you throw a quick little bullpen to get warmed up, then you go immediately and sit inside in the heated dugout. And then you have to learn how to pitch. You got to learn the grips. You got to know when your hands need like a little blowing into when they don't, because when you blow into your hands and like the condensation builds up, and your hands have to like get more numb. And so I think just learning how to play in it became different, and knowing that I can throw inside more and it like sting their hands and it affects the hitters more, which is a benefit to me coming to the cold weather. But it's been a transition, but it's definitely not been one that's been too rough, I would say.
Had you ever seen the snow before you got here, or were you one of those people that had experienced the winters?
I definitely had seen snow, but I've never like lived in it.
Okay.
I would go to like mountains and stuff, but never like truly live in it.
Gotcha. Well, and then so now you're here at the University of Michigan. Obviously, you were here last year, and you go through the fall, and what was kind of going through your mind when you were a freshman here on campus, and taking classes, having the real practices, all that kind of stuff. What was kind of going through your head?
It's different. You kind of get warned by your high school coaches and your travel coaches that college is a different transition. You got to understand, how it is to like kind of be on your own without your parents and your backing. And so it took some time being away from home. It took some getting used to, definitely. But Coach Bakich and Coach Novel and Coach Feder especially, they're almost like family. They're like three different fathers that I have. And so they gave us time to acclimate. They were never too hard on us. The older guys, we call each other like a family. We call each other brothers. They're the older brothers and we're the younger brothers. And so they definitely looked out for us in every way possible, whether it be school, on the field if we needed it, or like even emotionally if we ever had some trouble. The guys, I think our team is what helped me out so much. And, obviously you yourself, you built relationships with friends, but I was very fortunate to have a team that I got immediately placed in that looked after me as if I was one of their family members. And so it definitely helped me get acclimated when I needed it the most.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. And then going through the year, I'm sure you were really excited, and obviously everything was kind of what you had planned out for. But then it takes a south turn, and how do you kind of react to that? And what was it like when the injury went down? Yeah,
so when I originally hurt my knee, I knew it was hurt because I felt a pop when it happened. But then when I was like walking home that day, I was like, it's not too bad. I can, I'll be back for tomorrow. Just kind of check up and see what happens. And then in the morning when I woke up, it hurt a lot. And I was like, okay, something's seriously wrong. So I got the MRI, and then a week later, Coach calls me into his office, and my knee was starting to feel a little bit better. So I thought it wasn't as serious as I originally thought it was. And then he goes, Isaiah, I'm sorry, but you tore your ACL. And I started laughing because I thought he was literally joking with me. And so I was like, no, seriously, what happened? I know it's not that. And then he was like, Isaiah, I wouldn't joke about this. You tore your ACL. And I immediately started crying. And then he held me in his arms. He was like, it's going to be okay. We're going to redshirt you. You're going to get stronger. This is all going to work out for you. And when it happened, I definitely did not think that, because as an athlete, when you have your identity stripped away from you because you've been an athlete your whole life, it feels as if you don't really have much to lean on, because baseball was my game, just as every other athlete has their sport. That's their thing. Everybody has their thing, and baseball was mine. And then after the surgery, when I was on crutches and stuff, to see the team doing things that I literally couldn't physically do, it was tough, because I just felt like I did so much in the fall to earn my reputation and to earn something, and it had it stripped away from me so fast. And it mentally took a toll on me. But then, my parents, my teammates all took me in. They did a good job with me. It was an emotionally challenging period with rehab and stuff like that. But I'm here now, and it definitely worked out for me for the better. And I really believe that everything happens for a reason, especially after that.
Yeah, so what was the recovery process? Kind of like the rehab that you had to go through physically, and then also how did you kind of build yourself back mentally and emotionally to get to where you are today?
Yeah, the rehab, I wouldn't wish that upon my absolute worst enemy. It was terrible. I remember immediately after surgery, the trainer, Kim, she asked me to just lift my leg up, just something simple that you do all the time. And I tried, and it hurt really bad. And I was like, I can't lift my leg up. My quad strength was gone. But then the worst I remember is I'd have a towel wrapped around my foot with my knee bent. So to kind of get my knee to start bending, because it had been locked out for so long, I've lost the mobility. And it felt like God had his hand right on my knee and was like, don't do it. It's going to hurt. It's going to hurt. But then, so for 3 weeks I was doing that, and that was awful. Like I said, I wouldn't wish it upon my absolute worst enemy. But it was challenging. It developed me as a person, I think. I became tougher mentally. And so the process from there, after I got to walking and then running, it just became more of a trust factor. I I didn't have the trust in my knee that I originally had because I didn't want it to hurt again. Like I didn't want to go through this all again. But you know, I have people on the team and some friends I've met in my life who have also torn their ACL. My dad being one of them. He tore his ACL 3 times, and so he kind of just told me, you know, you got to do it. It's just one of those, you want to get back on the field, you got to push yourself. It's the same thing that you did in the weight room your whole life. You kind of just got to be able to push yourself, push through the pain, and understand that it's all for you getting back on the field. So I kind of had that dog mindset after my dad got into me, and so I just, you know, I'm here now, and I'm ready to get back at it.
That's awesome, man. And you know, so now that you're kind of, you know, you have had that rehab process, what has been practice like for you? How have you kind of approached it this season now? It's
been great to be back on the field and to be able to do things. I just got officially cleared this past week, so now I'm able to go back out there and really pitch against people and go full go against them. But it's been great, seriously. The guys have been running through the bump plays with me again. I've been trying hard to memorize them, and it's been a process because I haven't been on the field in so long, but it feels great to be back, definitely.
And I think Adam has a quick question he wants to ask you.
Yeah, I'm ready for it.
Yeah, so earlier on you were talking about your friendship with Hunter, and recently, as I'm sure you know, he tore his UCL towards the back end of the season. Have you spoke with him at all about rehabbing and what it's going to take for him, or you're not quite as in touch anymore?
I haven't, honestly. I reached out to him after I heard the news. I said, like, man, you know, I'm always wishing the best for you, always in your corner. But I haven't talked to him as much. I try to leave the big league guys out because I don't want to seem like I'm, like, fangirling them, because they are my friends. But Hunter's doing his thing. I know that he's going to be fine. He's a strong working kid. I played with him actually since I was like 8 or 9 years old, and he was always the hardest working kid. At one point, I used to play second base, and he played shortstop, so I can always say I played middle infield with Hunter Green, but he's going to be fine. I know that the Reds are going to take good care of him.
And, you know, kind of going off a similar idea, what kind of advice and encouragement would you give to others that face a tough injury, especially in their athletic careers?
You just got to understand that your athletic career is not what defines you. There's so much more to life than just your athletics. I think I realized I was more than just a baseball player in this time, because this is when I really developed my personality. And so people started to realize, like, oh, like, Isaiah, like, you're kind of smart, you know. Because I put more dedication to my books, and I realized, you know, I am kind of smart. I always underestimated myself in the class, sorry. But now that I realize I can do more things, you know, I'm pursuing different passions. I'm reading more, and I'm just learning more about life and how diverse and how many different things I want to try now that I've figured out that baseball isn't the only aspect that I'm looking for.
And, you know, when you were on the sidelines from injury, you talked about how it was hard to kind of look on and watch, as you knew that you could have been doing all those things that your teammates were doing out there at practice. But what were some of the other lessons that you learned while you were kind of dealing with that injury? How are you going to be able to carry those forward?
Yeah, my Coach Feder, my pitching coach, used to always tell me, Isaiah, you got to be more positive. Because when I was sitting on like the sidelines and in the rehab area on the baseball field, he would always see me kind of like frowning and not really having a good time, not being who I was originally before I got injured. And so one lesson I learned is that I can't, you know, ride the highs or dwell on the lows. You know, there's so much life to be lived. There's so many things that I want to do. And yeah, he just told me to be more positive. So just kind of stay neutral with my perspective on life. With that injury, it was obviously a super, super low. And I learned to not just sit down on there and kind of just like say, oh, like my life is done, like my career is over. You know, I still have so much more life to live. I have so much more to be positive for. You know, go say hi to somebody new. So go sit down and have lunch with somebody. Go talk to a different teammate that you think is down. It's not just about you. There's so many people going through so many different things. You know, your positivity, which I think is a strong suit of mine. And I think I'm able to push that upon other people and have them, you know, to be able to change their days with some things I say. So I think I learned how to use that through Coach Feder.
That's awesome. And the winning streak too that you were there for last year. You know, obviously you didn't get to pitch in those games, but what was it like being around that team and just getting that momentum behind yourselves? And how do you feed off that kind of energy?
It was insane, to say the least. The season started off pretty rough for us. When we were in California, we took some tough losses to Stanford and San Diego State and some other schools, but then we came back home. And I think that we kind of looked at each other and said, like, this season is not going to go this way. We're gonna find a way. And despite me not being a part of it, I feel like I was, I texted guys saying, you're going to bounce back, or I had some side conversations saying, you're going to figure it out. We're going to figure it out, most importantly. And that our team, that atmosphere, like we would sing the victors after taking a win, and you could feel everybody in that pride for Michigan. Everybody was screaming it from the depths of their soul. We were all so proud to wear that Block M, and coach was just feeding us into it. He gave us so much positivity, kept reminding us why we were doing this. 152 years at the time of years of baseball that we were all building upon, that legacy. It was incredible, and that run it's in Michigan history books. It's not the longest, but it's still up there. And I think, especially with baseball and life and in so many different ways, it's all about leaving a legacy, and that team will definitely be remembered for that run that we had, and it's incredible to say that I might not have played, but I was still a part of it.
And so, knowing that your team has that kind of ability, that kind of capability and potential, how do you use that winning streak over the offseason to fuel an upcoming season such as this one? Yeah,
so when we were winning that much, we were atop the Big Ten, and I think we got to get a little bit complacent. And so now we recognize that we're hungrier, and we want to use that to kind of keep that winning streak coming and not be able to just be settled with just that. And so, we have a lot of guys coming back. We have a lot of pieces coming back that all remember what it feels like to drop from first to third in the Big Ten. And so we're all pretty hungry to get back on the horse and show these people like what we got, and that Michigan deserves to have another Big Ten ring. Our motto this fall was growth and ownership, and we're going to grow from that loss, and we're going to take the ownership that, hey, we did it, like we got complacent, and we're going to push each other, we're going to push ourselves past that boundary, and we're going to get some rings in our fingers.
That's what you like to hear. And what can people expect to see at Ray Fisher this year out of you and your team? Yeah,
so our team, we have essentially everybody coming back, which is insane. So last year we were super young with our freshmen that emerged, Jordan, Jesse, Dragani, everybody. Everyone's back essentially. We have a strong staff. Our hitting is very, very strong. We're mature with the bats. Jesse's been working hard all year. All the hitters have been working insanely hard. And we're going to see some fireworks of some home runs out in Ray Fisher for one. And then our staff is essentially the same as well. We have some really good young emerging arms that are electric. We're super excited for those. Coach Fetter's working hard with us. We're developing our stuff. We're getting closer as a team. Coach Bakich is really getting on us this year because he sees his team as something special. If you look at the reports, some people have us going to Omaha. That means nothing to us. We want to make our own. We want to write our own story, write our own path. For me especially, I'm just looking to benefit the team as much as I can. After coming off of a year where I didn't do anything on the field, I'm looking to just add value on the field as much as I can, any role I can. I don't really care if I start, close, relief, throw in a situational part just to a righty, just to throw some sliders and get them off balance. I want to contribute. I want to make my mark on the team and just help this team win. It's all about the winning.
That's what you love to hear from a Michigan student athlete for sure. And Adam, you have a couple other questions you'd like to chip in before we get to some miscellaneous
Hit me with
topics?
It.
Absolutely. So, as you were saying before, Nick Lodolo, a longtime friend of yours, a guy who also went to Damien, a year older, guy who has big league aspirations this year, pitching at TCU. Can you talk about your relationship with him and how it got started and how it is now, and what advice you guys have given each other to help each other, not necessarily just in baseball, but off the field as well? Maybe some of the things you took away from your injury, pitching it to him as well, because it seems like you gained a ton from that, as unintended as that might have been.
Yeah. So with Nick, I made the varsity team as a freshman, and he was a sophomore, so I had 3 years to play with him. And Nick and I actually grew a really good relationship. We still have a good relationship now, which is super, super cool. I think I talked to him like 2 weeks ago. But yeah, he's excited for this draft. I know he is. After what happened his senior year, he knew that college was the best for him, and it seems like it's working out for him the best that he wanted it to. But our relationship goes back far. When I was in like my sophomore, junior year, before my spurt actually happened, he was the one who kind of pushed me to keep playing because I was just going through some rough times, like emotionally with myself. And so Nick kind of was there to just say, like, hey, like I believe in you and you can do this. And all it takes is one person to believe in you to kind of change your life. And so Nick pushed me. We worked out that summer. We still play catch like once every Christmas break now, so I can just keep in touch with him. And through my injury, he just kind of told me everything happens for a reason, which happened with his draft case his senior year. He was one of the few guys that turned it down, and so many people doubted him. Some people said this is a dumb decision, you shouldn't do this. But he went against the grain. He did what he had to do, and now he's looking forward to June. And TCU is obviously a team to be reckoned with. They always are. And Coach Delore is over there now, so we're looking forward to seeing how they do and maybe meet them down the road.
Very cool. And then coming up, spring break this year, you guys are actually slated to go play in Southern California, a little homecoming of sorts for your games at CSUN and Long Beach. But the big one on the schedule, obviously, the chance to play at Jackie Robinson, then at USC, and then last but certainly not least, a game at Dodger Stadium. Can you just talk about what that means to you? And I'm not really sure what was the furthest Damien ever got in CIF?
We made to the semifinals my junior year.
So did you guys play at Blair?
I played.
Is that the furthest you got?
I did not play at Blair. I played at USC. Every year we play at USC once.
Okay.
Like in the beginning.
Okay, so then can you just talk about just what it means to you to play at Dodger Stadium and I'm sure, did you grow up a Dodger fan?
Angel fan. So
Angel. Okay.
Yeah.
Still, can you just talk about what it means to play in potentially a Major League Stadium against some of these great teams and even more guys that you probably grew up playing with?
Yeah, this is going to be a super fun trip. All my family is going to be at essentially every game, which is going to be super cool. My whole family actually is Dodger fans, and so they'll be super excited to see me play in Dodger Stadium. But yeah, it's going to be incredible. I think Midwest teams always get kind of that bad reputation because we're a cold weather state for baseball. But it's always fun to go to California and show these guys like, hey, we can play a little bit. And Oklahoma State's a strong team; they always are. And a lot of my buddies actually go to USC and UCLA, so it'll be good to see them again. It means the world to me, especially so I can kind of show my parents. They haven't seen me play since my senior year of high school, so it'll be good for them to finally see me back on the mound. I know my dad's super excited. He's been talking about, like almost all year about how excited he is to see me back on the mound. My grandfather especially, he's my number one fan without a doubt. He's the number one Dodger fan I know without a doubt. So to see me in Dodger Stadium pitching, I think he'll be definitely on the edge of his seat, ready to rock and roll. And I am so excited for that trip. We have some big plans, and it'll be fun. Very
cool. And then a last bit, definitely, despite being a Midwest team, a huge Southern California influence on this team. Yeah. Two guys in your class, and Logan and Blake. Jonathan Engelman, a guy who graduated last year from Corona Del Mar, I believe. Can you just talk about maybe knowing some of these other Michigan guys beforehand, if there was any, I guess, preparation in terms of recruiting and maybe talking before and getting to know those guys before you actually came to campus?
Yeah, so I committed, I think I was the fourth or fifth guy to commit, and I think we were a class of 12 or 13. And so we had this big group message of all of us beforehand, and we'd all just kind of text each other. We try to kind of flex and say look at my home run, look at how hard I'm throwing, to kind of get a little bit of an edge on each other. But when our official visit came down, we all really clicked. I never really talked to the Michigan or Midwest guys, Jeff or Angelo or any of those people before I got here, but Logan and Danny and Blake, I talked to all of them beforehand. I played against Blake actually the day after he committed, and so it was cool to see. They're hey, this is my future teammate, right in front of me. I'm playing against him. But yeah, all of us gelled super fast, and Coach always talks about it, about how we're one of the closer classes that he's ever seen. And so I think to this day, despite losing some guys here and there with the draft our senior year, and then some guys have had some troubles with injuries and transfers, but I think we all stay pretty close despite all the actions going on in our life. And going into it, we were all ready to rock because we all knew that we were special. We were a bunch of different guys from different geographic points in America, but we were all talented, and we all wanted to win for the Maize and Blue, which matters the most to us, which is why I think we connected so well.
All right, very good. And a couple questions / topics here that we can kind of wrap up with.
Here we go.
Pre-game music, what's your go-to there?
I think I'm more of a rhythmic guy. Some guys have to get super amped with Eminem and some hard rap. I'm more of play me a good music so I can get locked in enough, but have fun while playing. And so I think some I always like Avicii to listen to before games. Some of that to just kind of get me going. I can kind of dance to on the mound in the bullpen.
Okay. What's the longest game you've ever played in? There have been some long World Series games recently, so had it on my mind.
Longest one I've ever personally played in was my senior year against my rival high school. We started at 3. I wasn't even slated to pitch because I was supposed to start a game on Friday, but I came in the third inning, and I threw 8 relief innings out of the bullpen, which, if you don't know what a high school game is, 7 innings. So I threw 8 out of the bullpen after the third, so we were in the 11th, and then we went 2 more tied, and then we went to the 13th, and then this kid came in, we were tied. It was my rival high school, so it was the bottom of the 13th. This game means everything to me as far as I'm concerned my senior year. He throws 4 pitches, gives up 2 doubles, and we lose on a walk-off double. It was terrible. My sister had a game at 3, which was like 45 minutes away. She fully finished her game, came to my game, and then I think we were like the 10th or 11th, so she still watched for 4 more innings.
Wow. Yeah, baseball, I mean, you got to play till someone wins.
Seriously.
So, all right, Los Angeles Lakers, I know you're a big fan.
Oh, yeah.
Was it the right move for the Lakers not to trade Brandon Ingram and a couple other guys for Kawhi Leonard?
With how well Kawhi is playing right now, it makes me want to say it was not a good move. But I want to say that Magic knows what he's doing.
Is there any fear in your mind that, obviously Kawhi is rumored he wants to go to L.A., but that it's going to be another Paul George?
I feel like he's going to go to the Clippers.
Okay.
I feel like with how well they're doing, and he said that he wants to go to L.A. He never said a specific point, and Kawhi is not really a vocal guy, so I feel like the Clippers is that place for him, and it's going to shock everybody. I feel like it's going to be the Clippers, and I'm not going to be surprised when it happens. Seriously.
Is this the Lakers team that can really make a run at it this year?
I think so. But the Warriors are always going to scare me. Until I see DeMarcus Cousins finally play and see how he does with that team, I can't give a definitive answer. I think we need a shooter, a better, mature shooter at the 2. Josh Hart's still young.
Yeah. That's. I mean, it's an interesting group that LeBron's got around him, but he's making do right now.
They're looking at Ariza.
I know. I saw that. And hopefully, he's a sharpshooter. It's what we need. We need somebody who can come off the bench and definitively give us a bucket if we need to.
You should have signed Swaggy P before the Nuggets got to him.
Oh, he's the last person we need back with LeBron again.
All right, last question we'll go with. What is your favorite piece of advice that you've ever received?
Yeah, this is a good one. When I was a freshman at Damien, there was a kid named Grant Hawk, and he ended up being a second rounder to the Indians, and he kind of took me under his wing. And I learned a lot from him, and he kind of told me, like I said earlier, not to ride waves of highs and lows. His grandfather was Harmon Killebrew, actually, fun fact. And so he had baseball in his blood already. And so he always said that his grandfather would tell him, don't ride the highs, don't ride the lows. Baseball, especially what he knew from his long career, you just got to stay level, learn from your mistakes. Don't ever think that you can't do anything. Always chase your dreams, and never let anybody tell you no, which was a big one for me. I never let anybody tell me no. And I keep pushing myself every day because of it. So thanks, Hawk.
Isaiah, I want to say thank you again for joining us here.
Yeah, this was fun. I like this.
Special interview, and we're really excited to get to watch you on the mound this year and to see the team compete at a high level. But we're really happy for you that you've kind of got this injury beat, and we are really excited for the big things you're going to do this year.
Yeah, again, thank you guys for having me. This was super fun. Lucas, you always know that you're my boy, and anytime you guys want to have me back, please.
Oh, absolutely. We'll find some times throughout the year to get you, and if you ever want to bring some teammates on too, we'd love to have some other baseball players on.
I'd love to have some guys on here. I'm always up for a good controversy sports talk, so right. I'm sure some guys will take the opportunity.
We can definitely work that out.
Have them on next week when we're empty.
We can definitely work that out for sure.
Please, I love some controversy.
All right. No, we can definitely work that out. All right, Adam, thanks also for engineering this. And once again, thank you for tuning into WCBN Sports Special Interview. I'm Lucas. Thanks, Isaiah. Thanks, Adam. And good night, and go Blue.